for the Drew Sutton Leadership Show, lighting your way with real leaders, real stories, and real impacts. Because when leaders stop growing, the darkness wins. All right, welcome back to another amazing episode of the Drew Sutton Leadership Show. Today we have a special guest, Eli Freedman. Eli is the founder of Cork Cellar, and he helps discerning clients discover and enjoy exclusive wines from Israel. His concierge service caters to collectors and enthusiasts alike, and with the launch of Cork Cellar Wine Club, wine lovers across the U.S. can now enjoy a taste of Israel from home with a curated box delivered to their door every month. Eli is excited about the boutique wineries that he's found. Each one produces bottles full of history, character, and craftsmanship, and he's committed to helping them reach new audiences around the world. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Eli.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm super excited to have you on the show. We both share Brian Wallace as a friend. I think that we met at Innovate in last May, and I am super pumped about what you're doing.
I am too.
So we're gonna get into your entrepreneurial journey. We're gonna talk wine. What I like most about what you're doing, Israel is kind of an unknown commodity. I think there's a lot of anti-Semitism in the world, which is a deep tragedy, to say the least. There's no reason that we as humans should look at one another and hate one another for just random reasons. But I'm excited about the winery because it's an opportunity for collectors and enthusiasts of wine, which I think a lot of us can share that excitement, to connect and realize that the old country, it doesn't have to be Italy. Israel is actually an amazing confluence of technology and agriculture, and that coming from Kentucky, which is an agriculture state, that gets me excited. But before we get into that, how did you get started in this? Like, take me back to the beginning when you were like, "Hey, I'm in Israel, and I want to get into wine."
Well, it goes back a lot further than that. I moved to Israel 3 years ago. I'm American. I'm from Boston. Was living in Montreal with my Canadian wife and my family.
Oh,
and I would say about 10, 15 years ago, I really did not like wine at all. I never actually tried it. For some reason, I was at a business meeting in the States, in New York. I went to a steakhouse and I said, okay, I'll try it. And I fell head over heels instantly. I had never been exposed to it. Kosher wine was still in its infancy. At that point, the consumer wasn't really demanding much, and there wasn't a lot of choice out there. And it's skyrocketed since then. But once I got into it, I started as a personal hobbyist. Living in Canada, it's difficult to get a lot of kosher wine because the government there controls all of the sales. So, every time I made a trip out, I'd bring, this in New York, in the States, it'd be a lot more selection. You can order online. And I just started, teaching myself and learning the ins and outs of the wine industry. So about 3 years ago, when we decided to make Aliyah, it's called to move to Israel. And I said, what am I going to do in Israel? I'm a business owner here in the Canada. I went from real estate management and factory consultancy and all kinds of different things. What am I going to do? And all of a sudden I came up with the idea. I said, listen, I love drinking wine. I love wine. I know everything about wine. Let me do something. And I came up with this idea of a personal wine cellar. A lot of people visit Israel often, and they're wine enthusiasts, and they like to visit wineries, but they can't bring everything back with them. And they want to have wines that are cellared, both as an asset class and also as just to be available to them. So I said, listen, I'm going to open up a self-storage wine cellar where people will pay a monthly fee and they'll have their own wine cellar available to them. And as well, I'll do a concierge service whenever they come and visit. I'll get them liquor or cigars or whatever they might want while they're here. And the idea was born. The problem is that I started the business about 2 months before this war started. And very quickly, the tourism was shut down. People weren't coming. People kind of lost their desire to party and drink because of the somber mood that permeated the environment here. So I had to pivot. And about a year and a half ago, I got contacted by someone who saw me on Facebook, someone from Omaha, Nebraska. And they said, hey, I saw you I live out in the middle of nowhere. I love Israel. I love wine. Can you get me something every month? So I said, yeah, of course. And I said, because I had just started shipping to private clients in the States and I had figured out how to ship. And I said, sure, I'll figure it out. And from there, my idea of the Cork Cellar Wine Club was born. and it's been history since then. And we're developing it. Every day we're getting better at it. But logistically, could be a total nightmare getting things over, paperwork, shipping, things like that. But I think I've cracked the matrix on shipping, and we have a third-party logistics company in New York that has liquor license in every state, almost every state. And what I do is I ship them the wines, and I go into their system and I create the orders. And when they get my wine that I ship from Israel, they individually pack up the boxes with my monthly newsletter, and they send it right off to your door.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's go back to just the wine. What was your first glass of wine? What do you remember what vintage that was, or what type of wine that was?
I remember it was a Baron Rothschild. Wait, you're drinking? Hold on a second. Let me just get something going here.
I love it. I love it.
You can't drink alone. Hey, Drew, you can't drink alone.
No, you can't drink alone. Actually, so I think the audience knows I'm a Christian, and yeah.
Cheers in memory of Charlie Kirk.
To the memory of Charlie Kirk,
a good man
who stood for truth and called the rest of us to be better men ourselves.
That's good.
Oh, that man, I saw that yesterday. A friend of mine texted me, and it just silence, man. It floored me because it marks, I think, a shift in American politics. It's been a long time since we've had a true assassination. We had some attempts, but Charlie wasn't a political figure. I mean, he obviously was a political figure, but he was an outspoken man that was fighting and speaking the mouthpiece for truth. Yeah. And, like when two armies go to war, Russia and Ukraine, at least there's uniforms. There's a chain of command. Presumably there's some level of decision making, but this is people kind of going off hinged, and it's a sad day. Sorry, I'm still processing it. I had a conversation with my a friend this morning though, and he said, the younger generation, I think, is going to take this moment and realize that the ideologies that are at war are real, and that it's time to be courageous and to stand up, and hopefully that's the direction it takes, as a positive impetus in the world. Sorry, I've talked a lot about that.
I think one of the most shocking things was that after he was shot, there were people cheering in the crowd. I think that's the most. Not just one guy, one lone wolf. It's he has a lot of company, and I think that's one of the most unfortunate parts of it also.
Yeah, but it's not organized company. It's people rabble cheering for tragedy, which is, it's just, this is to kind of pivot it back to your winery and to Israel. The story of Israel, I think that Americans don't truly appreciate this, because you mentioned the war. Talk to me a little bit about doing business in the war, because this is really important to the Israeli psyche, and I think it's actually something that the rest of the world needs to pick up. You guys have been at war essentially since your founding, but especially for the last 3 years. Talk to me about the mindset of Israel doing business, doing innovation, doing agriculture, growing grapes, doing crops, long-term investing in the middle of an active war on your homeland.
I think that three aspects really stand out in my mind. I mean, first of all, the state of mind is extremely positive, strangely enough, extremely positive. Happiness is abound. Resilience is the main cause of that. And every day we wake up to bad news and sometimes good news. And I think in general, following the Bible and thinking about God and understanding that there's a truth that we don't understand helps us all cope and process and move onwards, not seeking to understand, but to believe. I think that's one of the most important things. When it comes to business, probably the biggest, when it comes to wine, was that up north, wine country, the biggest wine country in Israel is up north. Also in more where I live in Bet Shemesh, which is between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, near the Judean mountains, also wine country. A lot of, during intense times, every few minutes, every few hours, we'd all have to stop what we're doing and go into bomb shelters. I mean, every apartment here has a room. Every apartment here has a room that's a secure room that we all have to go into and wait for it to be over. I mean, I have no idea. I'm talking to you right now. A siren can go off. I happen to be underground in my wine cellar, so we would keep going live. I wouldn't go anywhere. But the biggest detriment to business over here is that besides for the mandatory conscription law that for people to join the army here, the bulk of the soldiers are on a volunteer basis. They're called miluim, and these are guys who are married with kids, who have owned businesses, who are employees. And when they get called up, there's nothing to talk about. They got to go. Now their salaries are paid continuously while they're fighting through a fund which comes off of everyone's deductions when you get a paycheck. It goes towards a fund which pays those paychecks. So, but there's no dad at home, there's no husband at home, and businesses who are actually missing employees have a hard time functioning, whether they're drivers or on an assembly line, whatever it may be. They're just tens of thousands of people missing from the workforce because they're out fighting.
Yeah.
So that's made business extremely difficult. Besides for tourism, a lot of people are scared to come here. So a lot of that is cut down. A lot of the economy is based on tourism, whether it's hotels and restaurants, tour guides, all kinds of things like that. But I mean, I on the other hand, I've really seen you mentioned before that the old country. It's very funny because if you go back to the Roman conquest of the Holy Land, the grapes that grow now in Italy if you trace back their roots, are all originally from Israel.
Really?
Really. It's interesting because after the Romans, there was the Turks or the Muslims, whatever the other people that came in afterwards, they thought alcohol was forbidden. So they burned all the vineyards, but the vineyards were kind of saved as they were replanted in Italy and have been brought back to Israel to their original source. Yeah, the scientists are able to determine the actual sources of the grapes.
That is poetic. It's a bit like the Israeli people themselves.
Yep.
How many people do you know the population that's living in Israel these days?
It's somewhere around 8 million.
So just to the audience.
But I believe that about 2 million of them are Israeli Arabs who are full citizens who will participate, who are doctors, pharmacists, judges, whatever that may be.
So just for the American audience here, to think about that, there's 350 million Americans, 350, and we'll just round it up to 10. Israel is essentially the population of New York City,
and it's about the size of New Jersey.
In the size of New Jersey, right? So then you take a 10,000 people out of that. We do have National Guard here, though we don't really call them up very often, and they do like their service, their weekly reserve service. But it doesn't really hit our businesses at all.
No.
And so that's a massive difference. But what I love that you brought up is that in the middle of the war, there is still joy. There is still, and the war, I think, just brings sobriety. Another one of our mutual friends, he said to me, he's like, there's not a good time to start a business. We go to bomb shelters every day. So just start one and then have,
I didn't know. Well, obviously, I didn't know the war was coming. I started the business, and literally 2 months later was October 7th. So that's where this wine club that I'm doing now is a major pivot for me. It wasn't at all in the cards when I moved here, and you can't just freeze up. You got to in business, that you got to keep innovating and keep changing and keep going with the times, and keeping it fresh.
I love it. So let's talk about the wine country then. Israel kind of sits roughly north to south, right? Like it's canted a little bit, but it's roughly north to south.
North to south at the end of the Mediterranean Ocean, right? Yeah.
Where's the best wine country? So here I am. Let's say I'm planning a trip to Jerusalem or to Israel. I'm actually thinking about a trip to Jerusalem in the February timeframe for a conference. How should I plan my wine journey so that I can, what's the most interesting things to do, or your favorite wineries, or tell me how to think about wine in Israel.
Just within 20 minutes of Jerusalem, you can hit 30, 40 wineries. World-class products. I mean, the things, the bottles you see behind me with those red and white boxes, that's Yatir from the Yatir forest. North of Jerusalem is the Shiloh, or you might refer to as Shiloh, where the tabernacle stood for hundreds of years, surrounded by unbelievable wine country, world-class wines, award-winning wines. The biggest wine terroir, I would say, is up north in the Golan Heights,
Okay.
north of Tiberias, and all the way up to Lebanon, Syria, where, I mean, just because of the elevation and the sea breeze and the volcanic soil, it's just a perfect mix of unbelievable wines that are coming out of there. I mean, there must be 2,000 wineries here. I mean, that's my mission, to kind of hit all of them. The big ones have gone corporate, and they're the ones that you find you can order online in the United States. All the small guys, the family-owned wineries, those are the small ones that I'm focusing on. And because of all the difficulties of the war, I feel that my mission also is to support them and not just walk in and say, hey, can I have a bottle? But I come in and buy caseloads and ship them to the United States. And on one hand, help the farmers, help the winery. And on the second hand, let people in the United States support them and enjoy a great glass of wine whenever they want. So I feel like it's a win-win situation and everyone's happy. So I like the industry that I'm in, kind of making people happy all the time. And like as we say, l'chaim, to life.
L'chaim, to life. No, I love that. Actually, I'm working on a book right now called Jubilee Capital that comes from Leviticus 25, where it talks about the year of Jubilee. And the question is, how do we live life if the earth and the stuff that we make doesn't really belong to us? If it belongs to our children, our grandchildren, and ultimately to the Lord. So what you're doing, and this is kind of like, I'm literally writing chapter 5 of the book right now. And one of the main points is that it's business that drives and supports the war effort. It's business that drives and supports the government. So what you're doing, going and buying a case of wine or a pallet of wine and shipping it and making sure that the businesses can stay in operations through these trials, is actually one of the more heroic things that we can do. And that sort of, hey, help your fellow business people out. That's the way the world used to work. What do you think we can do as individuals to keep that spirit of taking care of one another moving forward?
Well, I think that the Talmud addresses your question, where it says, does the land belong to God or does it belong to the people? Can you use it? Can you not use it? And what the Talmud answers is that when the verse in the Bible says that everything belongs to God, is before you bless. Before we eat or drink something, we say a blessing. We say grace. You guys say grace, right?
Right.
Before you say grace, before you bless, it still belongs to God. But when you recognize the source, he gladly bestows it upon us and allows us to partake and to enjoy and to make profit on it, to support ourselves, and gives us the blessing and the bounty through his gifts to us. So I guess appreciating the source of it, I think, is the most important thing here, which when we ultimately, when it gets down to it, we believe in God, and we thank God and we appreciate God. And I think that that's when the handover takes place, where we take it over and we're able to enjoy and, of course, profit from it.
Yeah, the way for me, the way it swirls is my grandpa had like a small lathe and a couple of circular saw and like a bandsaw in his basement. And I'm a mechanical engineer, but young Drew just liked to play around in grandpa's basement. And
Right.
he had up in the rafters of the basement, right? He had probably 300 dowels of different diameters.
Okay.
And I was allowed to come in and take any one of those dowels that I wanted to and cut it up on the saws and glue it together and make whatever contraption I wanted to. But the deal was I couldn't just take everything. I didn't really have to ask, because those I could use, but I had to respect what was there. And then, and so that's why I kind of see the world that we live in is the Lord has given us this beautiful place to live. And as long as we respect it and we love our neighbors as ourselves, we're allowed to play in the workshop and really just kind of, live our dream.
Amen to that.
Amen. All right, man. All right, let's get back to wine, though. So one of the things I love most about the Jewish tradition is Passover. My family celebrates the Passover. I'm sure we do it a little bit wrong, but you all have 4 goblets that you drink. And I was like, man, every religion should get drunk at least once a year on purpose. That's how much more merry would Merry Christmas be if we played it?
Well, I guess in most views in our tradition, it's not a huge goblet as you think. It's about between 3 and 4 ounces. So it's not that bad. But the meal part of the Passover Seder doesn't take place till after about 3 of the cups, after 2 of
Right.
the cups. So you kind of you got a little tipsy, but I think it helps you tolerate the long procedure. We tell the whole story of the Exodus of Egypt, and we get into it. But we give snacks to the kids and keep them happy. But wine is very integral. Every Sabbath, Friday night, we bless the Sabbath using a cup of wine, and we do the same thing Saturday morning at the Sabbath meal. At a circumcision feast, there's a glass of wine. Pretty much everywhere you go, there's wine, so you cannot get away from it.
I think that's fun because you'll have a healthy interaction. I come from the southeast area of the States, and it gets pretty dicey. Like some people are very not wine, and some people are okay with alcohol. So let's talk about kosher wine. What is the difference between kosher wine and regular wine?
Kosher wine and regular wine, there isn't much of a difference at all.
Okay.
Kosher means that all the ingredients have to be kosher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are some yeasts and things like that which have to be kosher. There has to be a kosher inspector to make sure that's kosher. Back in the day, back in France, there was something called fining, where they would have to strain the wine. And at one point, they used to use pig's blood to create some chemical reaction to separate the wine. As well, they would sometimes use bone fragments to help strain it out and separate it. So basically, the difference between kosher wine and non-kosher wine is that making sure that all the ingredients are kosher, making sure that if they're not using brand new wine barrels in order to age the wine, they make sure that the wine that was previously in the barrel conforms to all the standards. There in Israel, there is, I'm sure you studied it in the Bible, there is all of the tithes that have to be taken off for the priests and the Levites and the poor people. A portion of it has to be brought up to Jerusalem to be consumed. And all of those, even though we do not have a temple, may it be rebuilt soon, we still consider all of those portions of the wine holy, and we do not consume them. So a rabbi needs to make sure that all of the tithes are taken off, and they're sent down the drain, unfortunately. But they have an innate holiness, which, due to the fact that we don't have the red heifer at this point, we're not allowed to consume them and give them to us. And we still don't know exactly who is considered a priest and who's a Levite. So out of doubt, we make sure that those are taken off and sent away and taken off of the main production. So that's the basic difference between kosher and non-kosher.
I love it. And you guys, you do this with all types of wine, right? So I guess in my mind, I really kind of think of a Chardonnay or a red like you're drinking. Do you all have white wines as well?
Mm-hmm. We have white, we have rosé, we have sauterne, we have every grape. We have a lot of grapes that are like argaman, which is solely in Israel. There are a few types of grapes now that are nowhere else. Grape seeds were found in archaeological sites, and they were able to kind of wake them up again.
Oh, really?
And regrow them. Yeah. They actually have tequila going in the Negev, in the desert down near Egypt, near Eilat. They're starting to grow tequila down there because of the arid climate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a huge explosion of craft beers here now. The wheat that's grown here is a lot of the most expensive, or most of it's exported to Italy for really high-end pastas. Probably the pasta that we get over here in the grocery store probably comes from China. But the Israel, there's a lot of liqueurs that are being made now, different flavors, different sweet things. There's ports and sherries and all kinds of fantastic drinks that are coming straight out of the land.
I love it. So you have a wine club. So if somebody's interested in the Israeli wine scene, talk to me about the wine club, because you're not just giving me a bottle of wine. You do the research and you put together perspectives, right?
Right. So go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to drink. You talk.
I love it. Actually, I like this show to have a one glass of wine feel to it. Like it's just two friends hanging around a table talking about.
I was nervous going on a live podcast, but I figured if I had a glass of wine beforehand, I'd take the edge off.
No, I love it. Actually, I have a friend of mine. I'm Kentucky boy, and so I feel obligated to drink bourbon, which I like, but like I more feel obligated to drink it than I actually super love it. But he refers to me as because and you put a big square cube of ice into it. He refers to me as 1 cube or 2 cube Drew. So he'll ask me, he'll ask me some advice, and he'll be like, "I want 2 cube Drew."
Yeah, when I have bourbon, when it's a cask strength, when it's in a higher, I like to add a little bit of water. I think it brings out more flavor. And yeah. So what was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying. I guess I had too much wine.
Well, good. Okay, so let's bring a little mirth.
About the wine club, yeah.
So wine club. What else do I get besides just bottles of wine?
Okay, so if you want to have, if you're interested in getting Israeli wine in the United States, you don't need me. You can go online. You can order kosher wine. There's no question about that. You don't need me. If you're interested in standing out, if you're interested in not buying the corporate wine, the wines that everyone has, I mean, I guess you have a whole bunch of varieties, but it's the same things for over the years. My mission, and it's unique in that, is that the wines that I send to the United States, to my club members, are not sold at all in the United States or anywhere else, except for in Israel. Most of them are not even sold in stores in Israel. You need to climb to the top of a mountain or down a valley to get these bottles of wine. What I do is I go and get them. And when I send it over to you, you're opening up a bottle of wine. You and the other members of my club are the only ones in the United States that have these bottles.
I love
many of the bottles a few bottles in every shipment are age worthy, meaning that you can put them away and they'll get better and better. In the summer, when I focus more on whites and rosés, you'll have them. They're what we call drink now.
Okay.
But the point of my wine club is getting things that you just can't get. Some of my members get a wine club as a wedding gift for a young couple. Some people visit Israel once in a while and they don't know where to go when they get to Israel. So they use my wine club as kind of as a discovery tour, virtual tour through Israel, by tasting and saying, "Hey, I like that. I want to get that." I actually had a few requests, from bottles that I sent out in, previous months, and someone really loved a certain bottle. "Hey, can you get me more of that?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem." And I'm able to, being that I'm a small business, I'm able to get them a case and ship it through on the next load, on the next container. I'm able to get that for people. But really, the point is, I mean, most of my customers are very successful people who want to taste the world, who want to experience the world, who want to get out there and want to have something that other people don't have. They don't have to buy an expensive car or jewelry. You can just subscribe to my club. You'll have bottles of wine that people will be like, "Wow, what is that? Where'd you get that?" Half the bottles are all in Hebrew. So what I do is I write a newsletter with each month, and I talk about the winery. I basically transcribe the label. I talk about the history. I talk about the connection to the Bible, the zone where it's located, what happened in the Bible over there. For example, I have a certain winery that I like to use. It's right next to the epic battle between David and Goliath.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah.
So I do a newsletter, and I feel that when my customers, I get such great feedback. They read the newsletter while they drink the wine, so they have like a little history lesson, and they feel that they're living the Holy Land, and they're drinking the wine. They're getting a little tipsy, and it's just like a whole 360 experience that they get to enjoy every month. I have an option. Where people get every month. I have a cheaper option where people can get every other month. I typically send between 4, 5, 6 bottles a month, all depending on price. So I make sure that my clients' value is there. Sometimes they might be more expensive bottles, so I'll send 1 or 2 less. But the value is there, and the experience is there. And I think people are looking for happy, safe experiences these days. You can stay on your couch and you can experience Israel. Some people have reached out "Hey, I'm coming to Israel. Can you hook me up with a tour?" I said, "Of course. I'm more than happy to do that." But I think that really the product that I offer does not exist anywhere else. There is no one else who has cracked the matrix on the legal and shipping complexities that are involved in getting wine without spoiling it, all the way from Israel down to New Mexico or Texas or California or wherever you may be. And also, it's the experience. It's the fact that it's so unique and so special that they really have something to look forward to every month. And I really enjoy. I go to sleep every night thinking about how exciting that is to make so many people happy.
I love it. So talk to me about what's in store in the next couple of months here. What are you excited about for the next 3 or 6 months? Again, we've talked about the fact that the backdrop of Israel right now is an active war, an active conflict with bombs and missiles. And for those that haven't really thought about it, I do encourage you just Google, this Israeli Iron Dome, literally missiles dropping every day, and there's bomb shelters, and yet you have a wine business. How do you plan? What are you looking forward to over the next 3 to 6 months that gets you excited?
I look forward to the hostages returning. I look forward to the end of all hostilities. I look forward to the Holy Temple being rebuilt in Jerusalem. I look forward to world peace. I look forward to a great glass of wine, not in that order. Everyone's life has to go on. School goes on. The kids go to school. We live regular life over here. What we've gone through a few experiences which were totally surreal. I'll never forget them. I mean, literally looking out your window and growing up in the United States, seeing the 4th of July fireworks, literally watching 300 Iranian ballistic missiles flying overhead, and seeing up in the mountains, in the Judean mountains outside my bedroom window, with the Iron Dome systems firing off and just exploding. Sounds like someone's, singing the national anthem, the bombs bursting in air. It's just absolutely surreal. And then 10 minutes later, everyone takes a deep breath. Maybe they have a glass of wine, and life goes on as usual. Literally, it's the hardest thing to describe. It's surreal. You feel cradled by God. You feel like you're living in miracles. You feel like you're witnessing miracles before your eyes. And you have to go on with life. As far as me personally, how I'm continuing going on, I'm obviously always looking to onboard new people into my wine club. I enjoy throwing in freebies. This month, for the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, I included for everyone 2 jars of honey that's made in Israel, citrus honey. The bees have only been getting their nectar from citrus trees, lemons and pomelos and oranges from the groves. Sending it out to people just as an added bonus. And I try to keep it themed with the Jewish calendar, meaning that my next shipment's going out, I hope to send out for the holiday of Hanukkah, which is right around your guys' Christmas and New Year's, where we light the menorah with 8 candles. It's a holiday that celebrates the miracle of olive oil. So we got some very, very special olive oil made, and we're sending it out to everybody. I actually, I've already arranged for, it takes me a few months to get a shipment over, and, logistically, but I created a discount code, a referral code for your show. That's Drew Evu. Exactly. Drew Evu, extra virgin olive oil. So anyone who signs up now will get that as well. I mentioned to you before the show that, being what happened yesterday and really wanting to give a good push to support Israel, I'm actually going to offer, if anyone who uses that referral code, I will give them 1 month for free from the wine club. And that's out of my pocket. Let me tell you, but I really feel I'm really inspired. I'm really psyched about this. And someone signs up. I haven't figured out yet exactly how to do the billing, but it'll work out to a free month. Rest assured, I keep my word. I really encourage you to go and sign up and join the club. It's a win-win.
Yeah, that's super generous. I deeply appreciate that, man. So yeah, if you're listening, we'll talk about this towards the end of the show and remind you, but it's corkandcellar.net/club. Then the referral code is Drew EVOO, all capitalized.
If you go to the website, you'll see an unbelievable infographic that was created by our mutual friend Brian Wallace.
Okay.
There's a button there that says more info or learn more, I think. You click on there, it gives you the whole history and background of the Israeli wine scene up until today. Award-winning wines, literally international awards. Israeli wines are scoring internationally when it comes to these competitions. And my mission is to get that from here to you. That's my mission.
I love it. Because we're so close to Rosh Hashanah, give us just a minute or two explanation about the Jewish New Year and why it's so exciting. My wife and I actually practice this as well. We do the apples and the honey and the rocks and the bread by the water. It's a really impactful and powerful symbolism. The thing. Just talk to us about Rosh Hashanah and the importance of it real quick.
Okay, Rosh Hashanah is the new year for the whole world. It's the anniversary of creation, and when God decides what it will be for the coming year, we do a lot of symbolism. I don't think that dipping the apple in the honey, which we do. We dip. Do you know why, Drew? Do you know why we use an apple?
No.
An apple when it grows, a little bit of the apple comes out and then the blossom comes out, as opposed to all other fruits where the blossom comes out and then the fruit comes out.
Okay.
When the Jewish people were by Mount Sinai, and God said, will you accept? And they said, we will do, and then we will hear. In Hebrew, it's translated as Na'aseh v'nishma. And they agreed to accept the Bible before they heard what was inside of it. So to remind God, so to speak, if God doesn't really need reminding, but we take the apple, we dip it in the honey, because honey is probably the sweetest food there is.
Yeah.
And we dip the apple in the honey to symbolize a sweet new year. And we do a lot of other things, a lot of the other symbolic foods at the Rosh Hashanah meal. And we spend most of the day in prayer, praying for a new year. We don't go out and party. We don't get drunk. We take it very, very seriously. 10 days later, we have the Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. Rosh Hashanah's main mission is kingship, is what's the word? Is the coronation of God over the world, recognizing God as the king over the whole world, the whole universe. Once we've done that, we spend 10 days in pensive days, and then which leads into Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement, and we ask God to forgive us. Once that's done, the celebration mode really clicks up a notch, and we move into the festival of Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles, where we build outdoor huts and we remind ourselves of how we traveled to the desert for 40 years, not because someone dropped a penny, okay? Let's forget that joke for now. We traveled to the desert in little huts, which were the clouds of glory, and we kind of spend outside. We spend 7 days really partying and really having a really good time. There's a lot of wine that goes down at that point. Yeah, that's it. You mentioned throwing the bread in the water. That's symbolic of throwing away our sins, and there's a lot of different customs that are involved, but it's a pretty intense time of year over here in all Jewish communities everywhere in the world. But yeah, it's pretty exciting, and obviously we choose a great bottle of wine to kick off the year, have it at the meal. I wouldn't say that the mode of drinking is more. It's not somber, but it's more serious. You know, have nothing wrong with a good glass of wine, and it's really an exciting time. After that, the next festival that comes out is Hanukkah. Towards the end of December. I mean, we use our calendar works on a lunar basis, not a solar basis. So we have 354 days as opposed to 365. So we add a month 7 times every 19 years, so that the calendar, or the Jewish calendar, stays on balance with the solar year, with the seasons.
Right. Gotcha. All right. Well, I mean, that's so super cool. For those that are watching, I really encourage you to look into Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. It is a great time, just from a leadership perspective, to assess your year, to take stock, to move forward with the plan and with humility and with gratitude for the bounty that we live in, and just a great time to reassess and connect with the family. So, if you haven't looked into it, it's been very rich for my family. And I love the Jewish tradition that I get to kind of piggyback on. But enough about me. We're running out of time here on the show. Eli, I want to give you the last 2, 3, 5 minutes. Just talk to the audience and whatever you want to say, and then we will close out.
Okay. 2 to 3 minutes. It's very simple. We don't need 2 or 3 minutes. But if you're listening to the show and you appreciate Israel and you appreciate good wine, this wine club is the exact thing that you not only want, but you need. You won't have to search online, not know what you're getting. I take personal responsibility for the quality and the timeliness of every delivery. It comes straight to your door, no matter where you live. It can be used as a gift. It can be used as a present for your family. If you're a hobbyist and you want to collect great bottles, put them away in your cellar. I'll even make a note in my monthly newsletter which bottles are cellar worthy and which ones you should drink now. The idea that you can get wines from Israel without all the work, without the expensive plane ticket and all the necessary things that go involved to taking a big trip, and then grabbing it and putting it in your suitcase and bringing it back home with you, you will literally have it at your door whenever you want it. And that's why I'm here. I'm your man. I'm your man for getting you the Israeli wine straight from Israel, from the valley, from the mountains, from the land of the Bible, straight to your door in the United States of America. So you just go to my website. I think Drew posted the link. It's corkandcellar.net. But if you Google Cork and Cellar, I'm sure I'll pop up there. There's a little menu at the top right-hand corner. You can click on Wine Club. This is a very simple sign up. You put in your name and email address. You get a confirmation email to confirm your email address, and that takes you straight to Stripe, where you can choose your monthly option, whether you want it every month or every other month. And the rest, all you got to do is wait by your front door for the Mr. UPS or Mr. FedEx to get your package at your front door. If you have any issues signing up, on the website is my phone number, my personal phone number, my WhatsApp, my email address is there. If you have any issues or you want to make any special requests, I usually am able to I'm able to go along with special requests. If you want to, I really can't change what everyone is getting, but if you have certain, whatever it may be, I don't know, talk to me. I'm a flexible guy, and I hope to provide you a great experience and a great fun time enjoying the wines from Israel.
I love it. Listen, Eli is being a little bit too modest here. Eli is a great businessman. He's an international man. He's lived in Canada. He's lived in the U.S. He now lives in Israel, and he is dedicated to connecting you with real people who are doing great wine. You can't get it anywhere else. It's an excellent way to celebrate in your festivities, but also to connect with your friends and expose them to Israel and the amazing history that we all share together. Also, if you're a business owner, you recently had an exit, or you want to connect, you're just in that wine club stage, reach out to Eli, find out about what's happening in Israel, plan a trip to the Middle East, to Israel, and have a personal guide that can advise you, not just the regular tourist traps, but the best places to go. So with that, go ahead.
I actually, if you're interested in coming to Israel, I would be more than happy to meet up with you, do a wine tasting with you, make sure you get to the right places and that you don't get taken advantage of. Make sure that you have the right things here. And like I mentioned before, I just want to remind, I made a commitment that if someone uses that referral code of Drew Ivu, I will commit to make sure that you have 1 month for free. Out of your annual subscription, you'll get 1 month absolutely for free. And everyone likes free stuff. Everyone.
There you go.
Everyone.
So let's make the world a little bit smaller. Meet your man in Israel. Explore the home place of the best wines in the world. And with that, we are out.